apparently, Sari made a tweet that apparently did not go over well. I do not know if he will say Desu again. I would not get your hopes up. I'm sorry. As much as you want it, I would not get your hopes up for another Desu. But let's see what that'll happen. I mean, this is a VTuber, so and a VTuber making tweets. So let's take a look.
Hey, what's up, guys? Riff here. So today we're going to be looking at a situation where a popular French VTuber named Sari is getting a lot of pushback on social media thanks to one of her recent posts where many people are interpreting it as a political statement about what's currently happening in the Middle East, specifically anything involving the Iranian regime. People are looking at her post and saying, this is not a coincidence. Sari is trying to say it's just a video game quote and it was all just very unfortunate timing, but a lot of people are not buying it and they are giving her a lot of pushback. Now, she's a very popular VTuber. You can see the amount of followers she has, and she's also a lewd VTuber, which is going to be relevant to a lot of the comments people are making because she is, of course, weighing in on political issues. You can think that's fair, unfair, whatever. That's what's happening in some of the quotes. Now, what happened over the...
She's a popular VTuber. Yeah, I think she is the one with the cool chair tracking. She can be lewd, but she can also be, like, playfully abrasive. I've seen a couple clips of her. She is very French. She is certainly very French, and she is a French woman, so she has the French demeanor and the French attitude. But she's she is what she is. She's basically French Finland. Okay, that'd be a fair statement. Yeah. So
past
there it is.
Day now, 2 days. United States announced that they're launching.
No. I don't think Rev was saying that being a lewd tuber shouldn't disqualify someone from expressing their opinions. I think what Rev is saying is the fact that she's a lewd tuber is what leads to several of the comments on Twitter after she has said whatever she said in her tweet. That's what Rev was saying. So Rev was not saying like she should be able to express her opinion. It's that her lewd tubeness basically, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word. But basically, like, her lewd tuberness is what, I guess, informed some of the responses that she received. Okay, I gotcha.
Past day, now 2 days, United States announced that they're launching military combat operations in Iran.
They already did.
Missiles that landed there, and there was a lot of uncertainty as to the success of what happened and the total details, but during all of this, Sari came out with this certified hood classic, which is a screenshot.
That's not good. Oh, no, that's not good. That's fucking bad. You got the upside down tattered. Oh, yeah. Well, this is bad. This was, I'm sorry, this was stupid. On its face, this was stupid. I think there's going to be some very serious, justifiable outrage on this one. Yeah.
From the game Spec Ops: The Line, and she captioned it, "Do you..."
Okay, this doesn't make it any better. Like, doing a quote from Spec Ops: The Line doesn't make it any better, because the whole concept of Spec Ops: The Line is you're doing horrific shit to people. So this doesn't, the fact that it's quoting from that game doesn't make it any better, realistically. The whole concept, for those of you who don't know, Spec Ops: The Line is a video game back from, what was it, 2012? I think it's an older game. I think I might have been back on the PS4, where one member of a three-man spec ops team that goes into a Middle Eastern nation because a battalion or a platoon, or I forget the size of the op for. Well, but it was an American op for that was going in to secure an area, and they like went radio silent, and this three-man spec ops team goes in to find out what's happening, and you have to make choices, and you're going up against a U.S. general who is in charge of, was it a brigade? Okay, I couldn't remember what size the op for was. So yeah, it was a U.S. brigade that went radio silent. The general basically turned traitor. Oh, and was I could be misremembering the concept, but like basically was like establishing his own sovereign area or something like that. Um, and this team was supposed to go in, find out what happened, and in the end, like basically, it's one of those games where no choice that you make has a good result. Because there are points in the game where you have to make a choice of, do you want to do this to try and complete this part of the mission, or do you want to do this to complete this part of the mission? And both choices are bad. You end up like your character ends up doing some seriously horrific shit throughout the game. And it's like there are like the whole concept of the game is there are no good people. It might be like Dubai, I can't remember, but yeah, it's like no, there's no good endings. Everybody's doing horrific shit. There's a lot of like mental illness, like mental psychosis thing going on. It's overall. Yeah, I don't think it was white phosphorus being used on civilians. I think it was white phos. I can't remember if it was civilians or opposing like U.S. military troops or something like that. It's basically fucked up choices galore. It is a fucked up game. It's worse than Cyberpunk in that there is no happy ending to the game, and it's like massive levels of psychosis. So was this funny? Okay, yeah. And yeah, you think they thought it was they thought it was opposing enemy troops, but it ended up being civilians that they white phosphorus, and it's very fucked up, and everybody's a bad guy. This is a game where literally everyone is a bad guy. So this is a really, really bad thing to be posting on Twitter right now about this regarding the US military. This is a horrible thing to be trying to post.
Feel like a hero yet, which many people believed was a political statement on what was currently happening. And
oh, is that what it was? There were no bad guys. The general was already dead. The enemy were protecting the civilians. And, yeah, this was like the MC, the main character, was literally having a psychotic break, and the entire thing was in his head.
People believed was a political statement on what was currently happening, and also some people interpret it as an anti-American message. And of course, eventually
And by the way, I that's understandable. When you're showing a picture of an upside down tattered American flag, which is a symbol for distress or surrender, yeah, it's understandable why people would be pissed.
As an anti-American message. And of course, eventually we find out that Supreme Leader was turned into human rubble. Okay, he did not survive the joint strike by Israel and the United States, and of course, being termed.
No. I have to correct that. Osa, flying the flag upside down is not mourning. It is not. Flying the flag upside down is indicative of distress. Mourning, the flag is flied right side up at half mast. That is what is done for mourning, not flipping it upside down. It's flown at half mast for, I believe, 7 days, if I remember correctly. That is mourning, not flipping upside down.
By Israel and the United States, and of course, being terminally online, the first thoughts of many is Asmongold, how he's going to be blamed for this since a month ago he basically predicted the time was coming for Supreme Leader. Personally, I thought about Hassan Piker. He's been seething on Twitch.
Yeah,
I mean, of course,
he's
that's what
crashed the
happens
fuck
when he
out on
sees
this.
a brutal dictator fall. And I just really hoped and prayed that someone close to Hassan removed all the shock collars from his home just to give Kaya a fighting chance, because it was probably a very rough night for Kaya. Now, going back to this post, yeah, this would generate a ton of backlash, not a lot of support. Most of the quotes and comments are negative or at least questioning the intent and timing of this. And people were going after this French VTuber.
Okay, can I say, even if the timing was poor, even if Sari did not intend to post this with the timing of the attack, uh, Iran, even if that was not Sari's intent, I'm willing to offer the benefit of the doubt that it was not her intent to do this as a commentary on the operation in Iran. I'm willing to offer that benefit of the doubt. You're still flat. You're still showing an image of the flag upside down. It's still showing the flag upside down. That in and of itself is bad enough.
In timing of this, and people were going after this French VTuber, and as you can see, once the negativity rolled in, she immediately surrendered and locked the replies. Now, people were also reporting that they got blocked. I saw pretty much a very heavy amount of people who made negative comments or jokes about her post getting blocked. Some people take that as her being sensitive. I also am a type of person who doesn't really think getting blocked on Twitter means a whole lot. I mean, people have the right to associate with whoever they want.
Well, honestly, her best bet for this is if it was taken out of context. If her post was taken out of context in some way, the best response would have been to delete it and make a post saying, I posted that for, whatever benign reason it was. It was extremely poor timing that this happened when the attacks occurred. And it was not my intention to make a commentary. But she didn't and she won't, and that's where the problem is. What I'm saying is this is what would have been the best course of action. Not that she took that. I'm saying if she had done this, people wouldn't have had a problem with it. The problem is she didn't. She just locked the accounts and is just going, I don't want anybody to reply to me on this. And therein is the problem, is that she's not, it's by not doing that, it can be seen as doubling down on what she said and effectively saying, yeah, I meant that shit in this way, like people are potentially misinterpreting. That's what doing this is. By locking the account and blocking people, she is effectively telling people, I actually did mean it in this way. There is no interpretation. I'm slamming the U.S. for the operation in Iran.
And if they want to not see your posts, that is totally fine. But like I said, some people interpreted that as her being defensive about it. And this is kind of the common sort of theme we're going to see here. One of the quotes saying, Ayatollah dead, 0 American deaths, Iranians freed.
Well, that's up to 5
I think
now.
We do feel like heroes. I don't believe this post was just a coincidence. And then we have this post saying, I'm still on the fence about this war, but vaguely opposing military action against one of the most theocratic and oppressive regimes to women as an e-sex worker is certainly one of the geopolitical opinions of all time. Some people answering the question very simply, I do actually. Thank you for asking, with a very patriotic gargura. And then we have this post mocking what she said, saying, whoa, that's so deep, bro. Whoa, what if we were the bad guys? Whoa. And then we have this comment, which kind of leads us into the next phase of responses. I was commenting on how idiocracy and they live are used for shallow digs at America in the realm of film.
Okay, disagree. I don't think idiocracy. They live, okay, maybe you could see that as a shallow dig, maybe. I don't think idiocracy is a shallow dig at America in the realm of film. Not in the slightest. The freaking line these days is that idiocracy was supposed to be a commentary or a parody, not a fucking instruction manual. So Yeah, like Idiocracy was not supposed to be a documentary of where we're going. So I vehemently disagree about Idiocracy being a quote unquote shallow dig at America. No, it was a deep cut. Idiocracy was 100% a deep cut by Mike Judge on America, without question. They Live, I won't say it's a shallow dig, but They Live was also something of a commentary back in like I think it came out in the 80s, if I remember. Was it late 80s or early 90s that They Live came out? That one was not quite so deep of a cut, but it was a commentary on consumers. 87. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. It was like They Live was a commentary on consumerism and how it seems like that people are kind of sort of being brainwashed in regards to consumerism, and that kind of dovetailed into aliens actually, like, essentially speaking, hypnotizing the populace and doing subliminal messaging. So yeah, it was like it wasn't shallow, but it wasn't like a deep cut on consumerism. Idiocracy was 100% a deep cut on basically everything shallow, consumeristic, stupidity in regards to America. 100% on that one.
Spec Ops, the line is that for gamers, doesn't help its case that it's a fundamentally bad, pretentious game. Now,
I wouldn't call it pretentious. That I'm also going to disagree with. Uh, I don't think that Spec Ops: The Line was actually, generally speaking, very well received. Gameplay was pretty good from what I understand, and the twist on it was actually received quite favorably as, wow, that was a serious mindfuck. That like the whole thing was just literally a psychotic break. So disagree that it was a bad, pretentious game. Very much disagree. I played the demo once upon a time. Oh, and the demo was fine in terms of like mechanics. I didn't get to delve into the story really, but the mechanics of the demo I played was good. But the story itself, a lot of people really liked because it was such a mindfuck, and people appreciated the nuance and and the psychosis that was exemplified in the game. So yeah, disagree with Marshall Bahamad in that it was a bad, pretentious game.
this seemed to really get under the skin of Sari because she hid multiple replies like this, just calling it a bad or pretentious game. Like, these weren't even some
What the hell?
crazy out of bounds comments. She went out of her way to
Really?
manually hide replies like this, making
Why?
fun of the game and its quality or its message, which is interesting. And also for those who are like, oh, well, this is just a
Oh,
coincidence. It seems like it's not, okay? Personally speaking, I find it very hard to believe this was just a coincidence. You can disagree with me. You're very allowed to, okay?
okay.
I'm just presenting the circumstances and the fact that the last time, as far as I know, that she streamed this game was about 8 months ago. It wasn't like she's actively streaming this game and she was
Uh-huh.
just like throwing out some quotes from the game or screenshots or whatever. It's been a long time. So the timing is very, very unfortunate at the
Yeah.
very least. Okay?
Yeah.
At the very least. But a lot of people think this was not a coincidence and she
Eh.
was making this post to make a political statement about what's going on in the Middle East.
Hey.
But apparently, this reply in particular was a critical hit because she would reply to
Huh.
this. This person said, "Ah, yes, the French LewTuber has a political take. Please, everyone, lend an ear and take her extremely seriously." Where
Uh-huh.
she would say, "I'm quoting a game with an anti-war message. That's the whole story. And if you think some
What? Okay. Did Spec Ops: The Line, was it an anti-war message, or was it more of just a PTSD message? Because I always had the impression that Spec Ops: The Line was a psychological mindfuck of a game, talking like leaning more towards PTSD not necessarily towards anti-war. I mean, I can kind of see how it would be anti-war because the war is what resulted in the PTSD. Like if you follow that train of thought, okay, that makes sense. But primarily, it was a game regarding PTSD in and of itself, first and foremost. So I don't know about an anti-war message.
A game with an anti-war message. That's the whole story. And if you think someone's job disqualifies them from having a political opinion, weak argument by that logic, anyone who consumes adult content would have to stay silent too, where a different user would say, why do you support Iran government murdering thousands of protesting citizens? Because you were quiet for quite a while until now, you hypocrite. Where Sari says, how the F did you even come to that conclusion?
Simple answer, she posted it when the ops happened. That's why. The fact that I don't know if she's being deliberately obtuse on this one or is genuinely like Pikachu shock face of why this might be. But like she posted it, what, the op went on, the op went yesterday, right? If I'm not, I'm trying to remember my timelines here. The op in Iran happened. Okay, so she posted this roughly 5 hours after the op. So okay, so there it is. So yeah, that's how they came to the conclusion. You post something like that after a successful bombing op, joint task force op in Iran. Yes, it's perfectly logical that someone would come to that conclusion.
Which I think is somewhat fair to say, but you're also vague posting during the events happening. As everything was unfolding, you're vague posting with this quote that could be interpreted as many different things, and almost all of them are
yeah,
political.
I saw that, Moss. I saw Asmon's
when you have people making
video
assumptions on your vague post, don't be surprised at all. Like, this shouldn't be surprising to anyone making a vague post like that at that specific time. I mean, it reminds me so much of the Tricky Wii situation. I talked about this about a year ago.
Yeah.
Where literally minutes after a failed assassination attempt on Donald Trump, she immediately tweets, remember to always shoot your shot. Surely you won't effing miss. And then when people said, we know exactly what you mean by this, and this is disgusting, and it seems like you're trying to justify political violence, she deleted the tweet and acted like, oh, well, I did nothing wrong. That wasn't my intention. Like, you know, people read between the lines. Not everyone is going to see these vague posts at very interesting times and just buy that you're, you know, totally the victim of a coincidence, right? But then other people were responding to another follow-up she made where she said, it's absurd to assume I support dictatorship or the systematic oppression of women's rights. It was simply a quote from a game, nothing more. I support nothing but people living and expressing themselves in full freedom. I wish you all a nice weekend and hope you stay safe. Well,
see, here's the problem. Like there's oh God. Like this could have been so simple. This honestly could have been so simple. If she really did not make that post for the purposes of being political commentary on the operation in Iran. If she really didn't intend it, if she really was just making a game post because she just out of the blue just said, I want to post this, this is a cool shot, and I want to do this quote. And that was legitimately her intention. This literally could have all been avoided if as soon as she posted it, people started freaking out, she immediately posted, okay, I didn't post this with the intention of it being political. I thought it was like really poignant imagery from the game. The quote is from the game. It was not an intention to be some kind of a commentary on what is happening what happened in Iran. It's horrific timing, but it was absolutely horrific timing. Did not intend to post it for this reason. Literally, she could have deleted the post and then made that post like, okay, horrible timing. This was not supposed to be a commentary. My bad. It's like the RNG on my posting sucked, and it was not intended to be that way. Literally just a simple, like, maybe even like a mea culpa of, like, did this, the optics on it was bad. It's absolutely not what I intended. It was just supposed to be a fun gamer post. And real world stepped in and decided to, like, fuck things up. But she didn't. But she did it, and that's the problem. Is she didn't do anything like this. It's like instead of doing this, like, it's absurd to assume I support dictatorship or the systematic oppression of women. No, she could have simply just said, well, shit, this timing sucked. Like, the timing of this post really sucked. And just said, this is not a commentary. And it could have literally been as simple as that. But she didn't. And she walked down the replies instead of, like, making the claim that it was coincidence and the RNG sucked on this one. So yeah, people are gonna think based on the timing that it's basically an anti-American thing in regard to the op.
Unfortunately, you can't really express yourself fully and freely because the replies are locked. But before they were locked, this user said, "Do you actually think we are stupid enough to believe that just randomly posting?" And this one again.
And again, if she'd either immediately pulled it down and done a quick post like, okay, bad timing, that was supposed to be fun, was not a commentary. Bad luck on the RNG. But she didn't. She did the exact opposite. She locked her replies and started blocking people. How else are people supposed to take it?
Was a critical hit because it got hidden. She hid.
No. In this matter, never apologize. No. Disagree. This is not a never apologize thing. This is if she's posting it as a statement, yeah, she's gonna have to, as a political statement, she's gonna have to take the heat. If it wasn't, and she said this was not political, the timing sucked, it was supposed to be fun, and then people then kept coming after her, then it's where you go, okay, well, fuck them. I've already explained that this was not intentional, that this was just supposed to be a game. So, on that, I'll disagree. Because by her not clarifying, it has to be taken as, yeah, she's making this as a political statement. It's two completely different scenarios there. This is not like Emmy, where Emmy said, I don't know, I'm not knowledgeable enough about this. I don't want to commentate on this. I don't want this to be part of my stream. And then people dogpiled on her. That she should have ignored, and it would have gone away in a couple days. Sari is, posted something that looked blatantly political, did not offer any correction on it. And so, yeah, people are going to dumpster on her for being anti-American in conjunction with this op. Yes, no matter what, everybody's going to hate you. But I'm sorry, by not saying anything beyond that post is, like, how else is anybody supposed to take it? And then she's going to come out this and say it's absurd to assume I support dictatorship. Does nothing to say this was not a commentary on the United States operation in Iran. She still didn't say that in this post.
Again, was a critical hit because it got hidden. She hid this reply. Which again comes off as defensive. Like, this wasn't some absolutely absurdly offensive reply, but it seemed to really get her attention and made her pay attention enough to hide it, which of course is like, it's a highlight board. You're basically,
she's making a lot of bad choices right now
by hiding them. You're showing that you saw them, it bothered you enough to recognize it and publicly display it as such. And the other people responding to this reply she made, they're not buying it either, saying, are we supposed to believe this? Another quote right here saying, the issue with vague posting is that it leaves the message up to the audience interpretation, and you might not end up liking how they interpret it as it is at times. Hard to predict depending on how the algorithm
True.
feels that day.
And especially and to add on to this, this is an issue with fake posting when a incredibly hot button issue is happening simultaneously. That's the problem with vague posting shit like that when an insanely hot button issue that literally the entire world is talking about has occurred simultaneously. You vague post on something that looks very much like it's about that huge issue, people will assume it's in regards to that huge issue if you vague post.
That's one of the things I regularly tell people, which is very solid advice. Everyone who's been around long enough and has tweeted or made videos enough, at some point, when you leave things vague, you're going to find out people are going to fill in the gaps for you,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what happened here. Do I think
Yeah.
Sari is guilty of some heinous, awful actions? Absolutely not. But I think it is highly unlikely this was all just a random coincidence. And I think,
Yeah.
in my personal opinion,
That's a key thing. That's a key note of distinction here. Even in France, there's freedom of speech. And Sari is free to make whatever to use that freedom of speech as she pleases. So she is perfectly within her legitimate rights to post something like that. However, freedom of speech does not mean freedom of consequence. And if you're going to post something like that and the majority of her audience is American, well, she may have just pissed off a major component of her audience. And that's something that she's going to have to contend with. She can say whatever she wishes. She just has to be prepared for the consequences to her brand and to her channel as a result from it. That's it.
it appears that she was trying to backpedal and just say, it's le video game quote, that's it. But of course, she hasn't played it, as far as I know, for nearly a year. The timing just seems very hard to believe as something just that organically and randomly happened all throughout this, when clearly I would say most people were aware at least something was going on in the Middle East during this time. But hey,
Yeah.
again, I'm not the arbiter of truth. You guys can watch what I presented here and come to a different conclusion, because guess what? Around here, you're allowed to do that. I encourage that. And
Yep.
for now, that's going to do it for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.
And this is why I try as best I can to be clear in my opinions, both verbally and when I post them to the internet, say like on Twitter, because I don't like vague posting. I don't like to vague post unless I'm like doing a goofy thing. I don't like to vague post because it is so easy for you to be misinterpreted. That is something that I try to take pains to make sure doesn't happen, that I am not misinterpreted to the best of my ability. Sari might want to take that advice of making sure you're not misinterpreted if her post indeed was misinterpreted.